All right, let's play some football, or as those Americans say, soccer. We're going to click on this site, go to Major League Soccer. You notice there's a tab for stats. A lot of main web pages for sports, professional sports will have a stats tab nowadays. And we're going to look at by team because that's just about the right amount for us to go with. Feel free to go a different year. You have regular or postseason options here. I'm just going to go the regular season, and I'm going to grab all of this data. So I just, again, held down the Shift key and pressed there. Cut that to the clipboard with a Control-C or a Command Control-C for the Mac, and add a tab here. That'll be week 5. And go ahead and paste that data. Okay, notice it's kind of nice here. Not only does it paste the data, but it also pastes links to the site. So if I ever wanted to go out and grab that data again. So we're just going to do some data cleaning here. First of all, I want to make sure I can see the club name. So I'm going to get past that. And then I want to make all these other columns thinner so that I can see them all at one time. So I'm going to select them all, and then if I just move one of them a little bit tighter, it'll make all of them tighter. I don't quite like the way they're lined up. Maybe that looks better to me, right aligned. Play around here just a little bit. Maybe centered stats. What would it look like if the stats were centered too? Actually, that looks pretty good. Let's keep that. As usual, I'm going to freeze that top row. And yeah, that should work out pretty well. What you're going to do here is create a standard deviation. You'll have to put a formula in here. I'll let you figure that out. And then you're also going to put a couple extra columns here. Read the instructions for a little more detail on that. The other thing I always want to know when I'm using data is I want to know what these abbreviations stand for, this GP, GA, and so on. If I go back out to the main web page where I got this data, at the bottom here it'll tell me what each of those means, and that'll be important for this assignment because I do want you to make sense, for at least part of this assignment, make sense of what these different columns, categories represent. Actually, a couple more things here. Let me put a line under that so we do know that this is a different beast here, the standard deviation, whatever it is. And I'm going to create a column that's called goals, not goals per game. Let's make that bold here. A little bigger also. And wrap that. Okay. So I want to know how many goals on average each of these soccer teams scored per game. So if I go back to the website, I can see GP is games played, so that has nothing to do with the goals per se. This G is the goals, but then if I want goals per game, I need it per games played. Yeah, okay. I was wondering what games started would even mean at the team level, but I think that variable only shows up for individual soccer players. Yeah, so we don't even have that at the team level. That would be players who began the game and then went out at the player level. So what I need to do here, for example, the New York Red Bulls, they had 61 goals, so I'll grab that stat, divided by 34 games played to give them 1.79 goals per game. I'm going to double click on that. And that's a pretty big number. I want to get something a little more friendly. So let me get, that looks more reasonable. So we can still get a sense of who scored the most goals per game, but it's not overwhelming. And since I centered all the other columns, I might as well center that one. You will have another column out here, crazy standard deviation. So I'll let you play with that. I do want you to do somewhere out here the mean and range. And so we could bold these maybe, and you'll put the mean and range goals per game there. Actually, we're going to put in another column here, so let me give us a little more room there. You're also going to put a visual display down there, but I'll let you take care of that. And the mean and the range are going to be of this goals per game. So I would suggest using either a formula that we've learned already, or with the range. Let me show you a formula for the range here. If we get the maximum number of goals per game minus the minimum, I'm just going to retype the thing as M2 to M21, max minus the minimum will give us the range. So between the best team and the worst team in the entire league, there's less than 1 goal scored difference on average, which tells you how close soccer games are compared to, on average, compared to some other sports. And for mean, we've done that a few times. I'll let you wrestle with that one. But feel free to write with any questions.